Hello everyone, this is Bhumika Mohan. In this video, I am going to talk about organic farming and waste management. The contents of this video are: first, I am going to talk about organic farming and then its history, regulation, organic farming methods, fertilizers, pest control, waste management and its disposal methods, the 5 R's of waste management, and the approaches and best practices. Coming to organic farming, it is a sustainable agricultural system that uses ecologically based pest controls and biological fertilizers derived largely from animal and plant waste and nitrogen fixing cover crops. Modern organic farming was developed as a response to the environmental harm caused by the use of chemical pesticides and synthetic fertilizers in conventional agriculture, and it has numerous ecological benefits. Compared with conventional agriculture, organic farming uses fewer pesticides, reduces soil erosion, decreases nitrate leaching into groundwater and surface water, and recycles animal waste back into the farm. These benefits are counterbalanced by higher food costs for consumers and generally lower yields. Indeed, yields of organic crops have been found to be about 25% lower overall than conventionally grown crops, although this can vary considerably depending upon the type of crop. The challenge for future organic agriculture will be to maintain its environmental benefits, increase yields, and reduce prices while meeting the challenges of climate change and an increasing world population. Talking about its history, the concepts of organic agriculture were developed in the early 19,000s by Sir Albert Howard, F. H. King, Rudolf Steiner, and others who believed that the use of animal manures, often made into compost, cover crops, crop rotation, and biologically based pest controls resulted in a better farming system. Howard, having worked in India as an agricultural researcher, gained much inspiration from the traditional and sustainable farming practices he encountered there and advocated for their adoption in the West. Such practices were further promoted by various advocates such as J.I. Rodale and his son Robert in the 1940s and onward, who published Organic Gardening and Farming magazine and a number of texts on organic farming. The demand for organic food was stimulated in the 1960s by the publication of Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, which documented the extent of environmental damage caused by insecticides. Organic food sales increased steadily from the late 20th century. Greater environmental awareness, coupled with concerns over the health impacts of pesticide residues and consumption of genetically modified GMO crops, fostered the growth of the organic sector. In the United States, retail sales increased from $20.39 billion in 2008 to $47.9 billion in 2019, while sales in Europe reached more than $52 billion in 2019. The price of organic food is generally higher than that of conventionally grown food. Depending on the product, the season, and the vagaries of supply and demand, the price of organic food can be anywhere from less than 10% below to more than 100% above that of conventionally grown produce. Coming to regulation, organic agriculture is defined formally by governments. Farmers must be certified for their produce and products to be labeled organic, and there are specific organic standards for crops, animals, and wildcraft products and for the processing of agricultural products. Organic standards in the European Union, that is EU, and the United States, for example, prohibit the use of synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, ionizing radiation, sewage sludge, and genetically engineered plants or products. In the EU, organic certification and inspection is carried out by approved organic control bodies according to EU standards. Organic farming has been defined by the National Organic Standards of the US Department of Agriculture, that is USDA, since 2000, and there are many accredited organic certifiers across the country. Although most countries have their own programs for organic certification, certifiers in the EU or the United States can inspect and certify growers and processors for other countries. This is especially useful when products grown organically in Mexico, for example, are exported to the United States. Talking about organic farming methods, first is fertilizers. Since synthetic fertilizers are not used, Building and maintaining a rich, living soil through the addition of organic matter is a priority for organic farmers. Organic matter can be applied through the application of manure, compost, and animal byproducts such as feather meal or blood meal. Due to the potential for harboring human pathogens, the USDA National Organic Standards mandate that raw manure must be applied no later than 90 or 120 days before harvest, depending on whether the harvested part of the crop is in contact with the ground. Composted manure that has been turned 5 times in 15 days and reached temperatures between 55 and 77.2 degrees Celsius, that is 131 and 171 degree Fahrenheit, has no restrictions on application times. Compost adds organic matter, providing a wide range of nutrients for plants and adds beneficial microbes to the soil. Given that these nutrients are mostly in an unmineralized form that cannot be taken up by plants, soil microbes are needed to break down organic matter and transform nutrients into a bioavailable mineralized state. In comparison, synthetic fertilizers are already in mineralized form and can be taken up by plants directly. Soil is maintained by planting and then tilling in cover crops, which help protect the soil from erosion off season and provide additional organic matter. The tilling in of nitrogen fixing cover crops such as clover or alfalfa also adds nitrogen to the soil. Cover crops are commonly planted before or after the cash crop season or in conjunction with the crop rotation and can also be planted between the rows of some crops such as tree fruits. Researchers and growers are working to develop organic farming no-till and reduce tillage practices in order to further reduce erosion. Now, coming to pest control, organic pesticides are derived from naturally occurring sources. These include living organisms such as the bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis, which is used to control caterpillar pests, or plant derivatives such as Perinthus from the dried flower heads of Chrysanthemum cynorifolium, or neem oil from the seeds of Azadirachta indica. Mineral based inorganic pesticides such as sulfur and copper are also allowed. In addition to pesticides, organic pest control integrates biological, cultural, and genetic controls to minimize pest damage. Biological control utilizes the natural enemies of pests, such as predatory insects, such as ladybugs, or parasites, that is, certain wasps, to attack insect pests. Pest cycles can be disrupted with cultural controls, of which crop rotation is the most widely used. Finally, traditional plant breeding has produced numerous crop varieties that are resistant to specific pests. The use of such varieties and the planting of genetically diverse crops provide genetic control against pests and many plant diseases. Coming to waste management, a waste management system is a streamlined process that organizations use to dispose of, reduce, reuse, and prevent waste. Also known as waste disposal, it is an approach where companies implement comprehensive strategies to efficiently manage waste from their origin until their final disposal. Possible waste disposal methods are recycling, composting, incineration, landfills, bioremediation, waste to energy, and waste minimization. As for waste management, it is measures utilized to manage waste in its entire life cycle from waste generation to disposal or recovery. Talking about waste disposal methods, there are multiple waste management strategies and methods available. These strategies can be combined or rearranged to form a waste management system that fits an organization. Modern waste management strategies are geared towards sustainability. Other alternatives for waste disposal is to reduce, reuse, and recycle waste. First is recycling, also known as physical reprocessing. Recycling is ideal for the disposal of inorganic waste such as plastic, glass, and metals. Though organic waste such as paper and food can also be recycled, composting would be a better waste disposal method as it converts organic waste into nutrient rich fertilizer. Second is waste to energy. Or WTE, on the other hand, is the conversion of non recyclable waste into heat, electricity, or fuel using renewable energy sources such as anaerobic digestion and plasma gasification. Talking about the third one, it is anaerobic digestion. It is the biological reprocessing of animal manure and human excreta into methane rich biogas. Plasma gasification uses a plasma filled vessel operating at high temperatures and low levels of oxygen to transform hazardous waste into syngas. Another option for disposing of hazardous waste is bioremediation, the treatment of contaminants, toxins, and pollutants through microorganisms. The 5 R's for waste management. These 5 R's of waste management are a set of principles that guide efforts to reduce the environmental impact of waste. These 5 R's are: first one is refuse. This involves saying no to things that are not necessary, such as single use plastics or excessive packaging. Second one is reduce. This emphasizes the importance of minimizing the amount of waste generated by using fewer resources and being more conscious of consumption. Third is reuse. Instead of disposing of items after a single use, consider finding ways to reuse them. This could involve repurposing items or using durable goods that have a longer lifespan. Coming to the fourth one, it is repurpose. This involves giving items a new purpose for use, extending their lifespan, and reducing waste. Fifth one is recycling. Recycling involves processing used materials into new products, reducing the need for raw materials and lowering the overall environmental impact. These principles are aimed at promoting responsible and sustainable waste management practices and encouraging individuals and business to be more mindful for their consumption and disposable habits. Now, let's talk about approaches and best practices. A waste audit is an assessment of an organization's waste management system. It analyzes the movement of waste from generation to disposal. Common approaches for conducting waste audits are records examination, facility walkthroughs, and waste sorting. First approach involves looking at waste hauling and disposal records as well as contracts with recyclable facilities. Second approach is requires a team of internal auditors to identify waste generating activities through observation and interviews with employees. Third approach is the physical collection, sorting, and weighing of a sample of the organization's waste. This sample can be a day's worth of waste or a collection of waste from each department. Best practices for conducting a waste audit are to refrain from releasing the audit date to the entire organization, prepare personal protective equipment and a venue for sorting beforehand, and commit to acting on the waste audit result. This can be achieved by creating corrective action plans for each possible result. For example, if the organization scored low on a certain area, then the following steps should be done. For this to work, it is essential for the organization to set the criteria before conducting the waste audit. Another tip is to use digital waste audit checklists for easy documentation and a more comprehensive data analysis. Thank you.